In this video, I'm going to talk about OneNote and the Key2Success Planner. Maybe you've tried digital planners in the past, maybe even looked at our planning system, and you haven't determined what is right for you when it comes to utilizing OneNote and a digital planner. We're going to deep dive into our planning system, the different tools that are available, the different editions that we have to offer: personal, professional, business, and executive. We're even going to talk about what our complete edition is and how you can utilize the system to get your goals, the plans, the ideas you have for yourself, that vision you want to achieve, and put it into motion with the Key2Success Planner. This video is part 2 in a 3-part series. And if you came from part 1, I'm glad to have you here. If you are not familiar with part 1 is, let me tell you a little bit about it. In part 1, we talked about how you can use OneNote and the Key2Success Planner as a second brain, and how you can go through the process and capture different ideas you have, different goals and tasks that you need to achieve, and how you can utilize the system and organize yourself to achieve that. So if that interests you, go ahead, hit the link in the description, jump back to that video and learn about that. In part 3, the next video, we're going to talk about customizing the planner, creating new integrations, the ways you can go through and make this planning system your own. So if that is something you are interested in, make sure to watch that video next. And I say that because as we're going through this system, think about, hey, I might want to do this. I might want to change that. And that videos will teach you how to do that, but I want you to learn which edition today is right for you. And maybe you looked at other planning systems for OneNote and just felt like it didn't work. Well, please give me 5 minutes. Let me show you our system and why it does work. Our system is not just a collection of templates. It's actually an ecosystem. There's an entire training program that you can watch, and you can check out the description to see that. It's free. There's 2 different training programs that we have available. One is Series 1, which is about building out productivity. It's helping you organize what matters most so that you can focus each and every day on those Daily Key3, so at the end of the week, you feel productive. Series 2 is about building framework. Maybe you're a go-getter and you're in the grit of it and you're deep in the weeds with everything you're doing, but at the end of the week and month, you just don't feel like the light is there. You don't feel like you're achieving what it is that you're meant to achieve, because you haven't established a framework of understanding what is the big picture idea, what is the goals that I want to achieve in the next 2 to 3 years, and how might I do it through a planning system each and every day. Those are free for you to watch, and I encourage you to check them out. So let's talk about our planning system and how the importance of that works. So there's, again, 4 different editions: personal, professional, business, and executive. And the intentions of each of those editions is to meet you in the role of your life that you serve. But know that in every role, we are our own person, right? Our personal life is part of our professional development, and that should all be encompassed. So as we move up in editions, I want you to know that everything you've already seen is included in the edition that we're currently looking at. So I'll show you the personal edition, and as we look at the professional edition, trust and know that everything I showed you in the personal edition is included in that. And the reason why we do this is I'm a strong believer that the life that we live, the time that we spent here, we're serving. We're serving ourselves, we're serving our family, and most importantly, hopefully we're serving the Lord. And those intentions, those attributes should all be a part of our daily scheduling. We shouldn't necessarily have a work life, a personal life, a Christian life, or whatever other life you're trying to live. It should all be one life, and it should all be ingrained in the same system. And our balance in that life should be consistent. There's going to be different seasons, of course. Different seasons we're going to have more commitments. Just like different days we have more work than personal time. And so be it. But utilizing one system helps you bring in the focus, helps you expand on the different opportunities that you have so that you can have success in all aspects of life. So the first edition, the personal edition, really covers a lot of unique things by first establishing what is your vision. We go through a process of developing your vision board to help you determine what it is you want to achieve on an annual basis. There's an annual keys page, and the annual keys page is built on building out 4 different cornerstones that we have: self-development, career, professional development, community, and relationships. And these all embody each other, because sometimes if we want to work on our fitness or grow our own self goals, we might lean on other people. We might have to build relationships to help us achieve that. If we're looking to become more physically fit, but we haven't communicated that to our coworkers and our friends and our spouse, their habits or the habits that maybe you already have with them might influence your results. And if you have ever had a chance to listen to our podcast, you'll know about one of the podcasts that we have that's called The Sum of All Things. We are the sum of the 5 people around us. And when it comes to these annual keys, we need to understand how all these things interact with each other. And if you haven't checked out our podcast, I encourage you to do so. It's called Third Thursdays, and the link is in the description. But the annual keys section is going to help you build out those different areas. It's going to give you that capture space to determine what's important to you, and then a space where you can determine what your goals and intentions are. That is included in the personal edition. The next thing that's included in the personal edition is the actual goal. So let's take those goals and let's build them out. Which category do they fall in? What is the motivation behind those goals? How might we go about achieving those things? What things do we have to consider? What challenges, what strengths are in the mix to help us reach those goals? And then determine the outline for the action step. And then there's a place here for you to not only think about what is the reward of achieving this, but a journal in which you can take notes through the process. Additional, you're going to find in our personal edition is our note pages. You're also going to find that we have our quarterly planning tools. Now, our quarterly planning tools are built around the concept of a 12-week year. We spend 1 week every single quarter planning out what it is we want to achieve, and then spend 12 weeks achieving and working towards those results. You can do that through this page, and then we also have a page that helps you build out an area of reflection so that as you move into the next quarter, you can make the small pivots. If you learned about our decision journal, you know when it comes to making a decision, the decision doesn't end with the decision. A decision is only the start of a process of you continuing to perfect what it is that you're doing. And each and every week, every quarter, you should review that decision you've made and make small adaptations, because a lot of times the decision that we make will lead to new results, and we have to make adaptations and understand the triggers in which we are going to utilize to make the next step possible. And then we have the ideal week. The ideal week is included in our personal edition as a space for you to create that balance. I want you to tell me each and every week, what is part of your vision for that week? If you were to live the perfect week, what would be included? What habits and routines do you want to focus on? And then build out a strategy to what's going to be part of your morning and evening activities. And then how might you build out your actual week? Now, I have an entire video about the ideal week and how you can utilize this. But the key behind it is it gives you a framework to work off of. If you have an ideal week and then you go to schedule your actual plan for the week, you have space that gives you that balance. You know what days you're going to be doing physical activity, working out, what days you're committed to your job, where you have times and opportunities for investment in your personal life. And then we get into our daily pages. Under each area of our planner, there is a monthly section. You're going to find a monthly add a view, and you are going to find we have this weekly planning tool. And the weekly planning tool is built on the concept of getting things done. We help you organize what it is that you want to achieve. We give you clarity on what's most important to you, and we reflect on what we were not able to achieve so we can better understand how we can grow as an individual and continue to plug in to what's most important. And then each and every daily planner has a week at a view and then an individual daily page that you can see inside the system. The daily page itself has that capture board, a place for you to set your purpose so you know where your energy and your focus is being spent, a place for you to determine your daily key 3, your to-do list, as well as a scheduling board, a place for notes, meal plan, exercise, opportunities, and what is on your plate for tomorrow. We're going to show you how you can customize this page by using tiles in the next video. So if something here isn't exactly what you'd like to see, you can add additional tiles to the page that kind of give it its own space and freedom for you to make the plans that are necessary. What I want you to know about this page is the Daily Key 3 is the things that are going to matter most. They are the things that are going to unlock your potential. We've created this bar down here in the to-dos where you not only can check off the progress and status of those to-dos, but you're able to categorize them. Maybe these are at-home activities. These are things you're going to do in the office. Or sometimes for me, what I do as part of my morning routine, I look at my to-dos and say, this is the order in which I'm going to work on them once I've completed my Daily Key 3. So that is a look at the personal planner. If you are in a role where you're trying to find harmony in your daily life, that edition is for you. If you are a professional and you have meetings and projects and you're trying to build up more habits, the next edition might be better fit. With the professional edition under planning, you're going to recognize that we've added the bucket list. Personally, I love this page. It gives me the opportunity to kind of think forward for the year. What things do I want to achieve? What things do I want to create? What areas do I want to learn in? What things do I want to grow, and how might I want to lead? A place for me to make a statement by planning out how I'm going to work on that, and in what spaces am I going to create to embody me to be able to take action on this bucket list. You're also going to find in the professional edition our project page. This area here, if you're going through projects in work or in life, a space for you to sketch out those pages, build out a plan, and determine a timeline as well as tasks that you're going to use to make those projects happen. And then we have our meetings page. The meetings page is not only designed so you have an agenda and you know who's attending, but how do you get the most of it? Prior to the meeting, ask yourself, what questions do I have? What answers do I need to provide? How is this meeting and the items that are a part of the agenda important to me? This will allow you not only to better understand the task and the projects that you work on, but it's going to give you a place to take notes and then provide you a sense of assurance by knowing where your action steps and how you're going to start the follow-up process. I encourage every person post-meeting to take a few minutes and reflect. How could you have improved yourself? How could you have been more attentive in the meeting? How might you have shortened the timeline of the meeting so that you could take action on executables sooner? It's a great exercise, something that is part of our professional planning tool. Now, when you jump into the daily pages of our planning system, you are going to find that there's some additional things that are included. One of them being the habit tracker. Each and every month, I look at, hey, what habits are important to me? What things am I working to develop? What habits in my life might I want to break? What is the goal behind that? And how am I going to integrate some type of process? One of my goals in recent years, a habit that I had, is I wanted to do 50 push-ups every single day. Well, I made the process of starting my coffee pot, started brewing it, and then I went and did the push-ups. I made that as part of my morning routine. This here allows you to track those habits, showcase what days you actually achieved them, and then at the end of each week, give you a point of reflection where you could say, what challenges, what opportunities presented themselves? What made the difference of you achieving or not achieving the habits that you set for yourself that week? Also in the professional edition is our budget tracker. This is a place where you can outline what your visionary goals are for your income and expenses for the month, where your money is being spent, and how you might set a budget for yourself. That is all included, plus everything you saw in the personal edition is part of the professional edition. As we move on to the business edition, I want to talk to you about how this particular edition was developed. When I created the business edition, I created the professional builder. I did it in the light of knowing that often as we go from day to day, from week to week, we necessarily don't have a long-term framework of what we're trying to achieve. I mentioned many times that planning isn't about having a task list. It's about having clarity on the things that matter most, that are going to make the biggest impact. And sometimes in our own professional development, in our own life, or if it be in business or in an organization that we're managing, we need to have a broader net, a wider scope that helps us determine what we are aiming to achieve. And that's what this one-page business plan, professional builder, again, you can use it personally, professionally, or for business, is going to do for you. We're going to start by asking, what is the vision over the next 3 years? What are you hoping to achieve here? What are the challenges that you're facing? What are those boulders? What are the assets and resources that you have available to you? What are the key values? What are the vitals? How are you measuring success? And if you go through this process over 10 years, what is the target? What are we trying to achieve? And most importantly, what is our absolutes? So many times we get big pictured and we have all these goals, we kind of forget that there is going to be times that we are going to fail. We're not going to achieve the results that we hope to. But we want to mitigate the risk of failure, right? And we do that by determining our absolutes. If your goal was to grow 12% for the year, what is the absolute requirement? How do you maintain cash flow, make sure you're not going in the red? Well, that might be 5% to stay ahead of inflation, to keep everything moving. So that everything between 5% and 12% is us in a growth mode. But this gives us the ability to determine if we're not achieving the absolute, we need to get back on our box, right? We need to start to look at ourselves, look at the plan that we have in front of us, and pivot, make adaptations so that we don't find ourselves putting ourselves or any organizations that are running at risk of true failure. It's okay to fall. And when we fall, we get up and we do it again and we learn from that. Failure is when we don't take into account what our absolutes are and making the time and putting the energy in place to pivot when necessary. Through that, we go over to the right side of the board and I ask you, what is the actions? What's the requirement of you? What is the routine, the process, and patterns you're going to put in place to help achieve that? What are the goals over the next 3 years? And if you achieve those goals, the entrepreneurial surge will tell you that there's going to be an impact on the organization. If you achieve 12%, that's awesome. But what pressure points are going to showcase? How is it going to affect your supply line, your vendors, your raw materials, your customer support, your delivery mechanisms? Those are all things that we should be discussing. Those are all organizational impacts. And it's best to not only discuss them, but know, hey, as we achieve 8, 9% of growth, what adaptations, process changes are we going to address? Maybe we're going to hire more people. Maybe we're going to train up our bench. We're going to cross-train. Maybe we're going to outsource some of that work. Maybe we're going to bring on an extra shift. This allows us to continue to grow in harmony without being pinned down by our own success. And through this professional builder, this business operating system, we not only look at this one-page business plan, we talk about the progress throughout the year. We identify each of the individual boulders, how they're impacting us, what the risk is, so that you can determine which ones you need to face first and what is the plan to overcome them. And most importantly, what's your role in it, right? If this is your box, if this is what you're being accountable, you best know in every single challenge that you have a role. It might be to be the leader. It might be to be in the thick of it. It might be the doer. Throughout every aspect of our life, this area to me is what's most important when it comes to getting through any challenges. And that can be personally and professionally. We have a role sometimes to support others by being a father, by being a mother. Sometimes we need to be a leader. Sometimes we need to be a follower. But understanding that role helps you better determine how you play a part of the action plan so that you can get the results that you want to achieve. We also talk about the strengths in the organization, in your own self, and how you can utilize those strengths, how you can pair your strengths with some of those challenges to overcome them. And then we break down those impacts in the BOS, that business operating system. We know those impacts so we can see those organizational impacts and foreshadow how they might affect the business or our own livelihood, and be able to develop auto plan for adaptations and determine what triggers are going to be in place that we might take action. That is the BOS. That is the part of this particular business edition that is so important. But it doesn't end there. There's a couple additional tools that are offered. In one, we offer our basic essential tiles. These tiles are different widgets that you can pull into the pages, and you can see a handful of them here: task tiles, project tiles, additional sketch tiles, and additional note tiles. You can easily tap on one of these tiles. You can copy that tile. You can bring it to a daily page in your planner, or any page, even in a meeting board, and you can drop those tiles right down on the page here, paste them, and now you have extra space for notes or bring any of those elements forward. Those essential tiles is like the baseline tile kit that's part of our pack. Great way to get introduced to tiles, great way to learn how to customize your pages. The other thing you're going to find is that monthly planning page. I talked about the importance of this in video 1 and how you can utilize this to determining what is the areas of focus and opportunities that you have in front of yourself each and every month. What I didn't talk about was your role in the month, how you are going to be focused on your different financial goals, your habits and routines, determining status of your goals and projects, and then having a timeline for the month so you know where your energy and effort is being spent. The last edition I want to show you is the Executive Edition. And the Executive Edition offers our team builder. Now, it's so important to know in an organization that you have organizational goals. So important to know what the business is striving to achieve. But are the people that you're working alongside, do they understand their role, what their goals are that are going to contribute to those organizational goals? Are you mentoring them? Are you building out the bench so that as you reach the achievements that you're hoping to achieve, you have the ability to mitigate those impacts the best possible? That's what this organizational chart does. It starts by looking at your team, where your staffing boulders are, where your strengths are, what type of impacts your goals have on your staff, what seats are missing, what seats are going to expand, where there might be divided roles, and what positions you might need to bring on. And it gives you an opportunity to plan that. It then goes into each individual member that you feel is going to be important to that plan, to executing it. It gives you an opportunity to ask them, where's their career vision at? So that you are in a good place with them. Because sometimes the vision of the career plan of one of the people working for you may not necessarily align with the career path that the organization has to offer. But if you can show them and show them that you are invested in their success, I can promise you they will be invested in your organizational plan while they are employed by you or with you. It's also important to understand what the overall absolutes are that they need to achieve to determine what their challenges are in their position, what strengths and resources they have available for them, what things do they value, and how are you measuring their results so that they can determine over the next 3 years what things that they have to set as goals so that the business can achieve those broader goals that we've set for ourselves. And again, what is the action plan? What does their routine look like? What is the key objectives? And a place for you to have a progress summary with each and every member. I find by doing this, it really not only helps me shape employees' journey, but it helps me make them a part of the process so that they know what their true intentions and expectations are, and then that they can see as the organization grows how they might need to adapt. So many individuals that we work with are challenged by change, but when they know that change is a result of us achieving success, they're more willing to take ownership of it. And that's what this particular section of the Executive Edition does for you. And there's also an area for you to help them through their challenges and help them utilize their strengths. Now, also with the Executive Edition, you get a 30-minute coaching call with me where we can discuss any aspects of the planner, help you determine your workflow, or just have a conversation about how you might get started that's a little more in-depth, or answer any questions that you might have about the devices or applications that you're using. Also with the Executive Edition, you get our Communications Planner and our CRM Toolkit. I will have links in the description to tell you more about those particular tools as well. The last edition is not an edition on its own, but it's the Complete Edition. What the Complete Edition showcases is the Executive Edition, plus our Decision Journal and our complete tile set. Plus it gives you 365 year-round support to help you install your planning system across your devices. If you're someone that really wants to embody this system and everything that comes with it, it's a great addition to do so. Now, our planner is not a subscription. There is discounts available if you choose to renew from year to year and sign up for our renewal program, and that'll be offered to you on the page for checkout. But our goal here is to get you going on what you need to accomplish. You don't have to pay for multiple planners for multiple devices. One installation in your account will allow you to synchronize it across all your devices that are utilizing this system, which makes it a great utility across Windows, Apple, and Android devices. And I mentioned this before, but in the next video, we're going to talk about customizing it. But I also want you to know we have a full video that teaches you how to use OneNote, because there's so much to offer that go beyond just the planning system. But we teach it to you using the planner so you can see how the different tools on OneNote integrate in the planning system, so you can highlight, you can copy and paste, you can bring in different PDFs, you can organize your system and make it expandable. So definitely check out that video. With that being said, I hope you learned something. If you got questions about the different editions that we have to offer, go ahead, hit the comments, let us know, or jump on our website and start a chat with us. With that being said, Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video.